Oh, nothing. I just got done watching a documentary about elephants on Disney Plus, and it was really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. What about you? What are you doing?
I was actually just helping my parents clean out the garage.
Oh, don't your parents just do that?
Well, yeah, but I just figured I would help them. You know, today I was reading this story in the Bible about these two women named Orpah and Ruth, and they married the two sons of Naomi. And basically, they suddenly passed away, and so Naomi told Orpah and Ruth to just go back to their families, and Orpah did, but Ruth said that she would stay with Naomi. And so that just inspired me to, honor the ones that we love by just helping them in the way that they help us. And so I thought that I would just help my parents in any way that I could through these difficult times,
Oh, well, I don't think my parents are that busy. I don't think they really need my help at all.
I bet they are. Maybe you could go watch them. Go see what they're doing. Go see how busy they are, or see if they're busy.
Maybe I'll do that.
All right. So call me back when you do, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
The young cub now ponders and realizes maybe she doesn't know exactly how busy her parents are. Maybe she will go take a look for herself. The young cub now finds her parent doing dishes and realizes that her breakfast dishes are now clean.
Hello? Oh, hey. Oh, no. Yeah, okay. I could do that. What time? Okay. Yeah, I can just pack up the food and I'll bring it there. No, it's no problem. No, it's fine. I'll make it work. It's fine. Okay, bye. Okay.
That was a close one. The young cub was almost detected, but was successful in her quest to go unseen.
Mom, the printer's broken again.
Okay.
The young cub has become expert in her stealth analysis.
Hey, it's fixed. What was I doing? Oh, the food.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah?
I think the dog threw up again.
The young cub has easily and quickly analyzed that her parents are busier than she ever realized. The parent finds herself in another daunting task, and the young cub looks on.
Oh, the laundry.
The young cub, now overwhelmed with concern for her parent, now realizes something must be done.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going fine. But I did what you said. I went and I checked things out, and I did a little spying, and turns out they are really busy, and I didn't realize how much they do in a day and how busy they are. And it's just I don't know how to help them.
Well, maybe you can just think about it and just pray about it and just do what you think God would have you do.
Okay. Yeah. I'll do that.
All right, I'll talk to you later, okay?
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
The young cub now formulates a plan as to how she thinks she should help the very best.
Well, hey, honey, what are you doing?
I'm ready to help.
Ready to help with what?
Well, I was watching you all day today, and I just saw that you were doing a lot, and I just wanted to help you.
The parent is now obviously moved by the cub's compassion.
That is so sweet. Honey, thank you so much. Just the fact that you see me just makes it so much better. Thank you. Well, you don't have to do all that. But you know what you can help with? What? You can go pick up your toys.
The young cub is now moved to action with a new sense of understanding of all the work her parent does, at least for today.
be with you today. My name is Yolanda, and I am the Preschool Ministry Director here at Casas Church. And I wanted to talk to you today about our electronic newsletter. That is something that we send out each week via email. It has updates and highlights and upcoming events and things happening here church-wide and things happening in individual ministries. It's just a great resource of information and staying connected with what's going on week to week here at Casas. So to sign up for that electronic newsletter, you'll want to visit our website at casaschurch.org and then scroll all the way to the bottom. On the bottom left, you'll see a button that says e-newsletter, and you'll want to click that, and that'll take you to a form to sign up for that. So it was wonderful spending some time with you today. Have a wonderful rest of your morning and enjoy the service that's happening soon.
Casas, we have a long history of being a multi-generational church. We love to encourage and include and support all of our youth here in our community. And this year in particular, our graduating senior class have had a very uniquely difficult last semester. They've lost out on a lot of distinct milestones in the life of a graduating teenager, including prom, but also their graduation. Right now, we have an opportunity to come alongside our graduating senior class to show our support and to show that we are with them as a Casas community as they move on from high school in such unique circumstances. This upcoming Tuesday, May 12th, we are going to be doing a drive in the Ironwood building on the Casas campus from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. And what we are asking for are $5 gift cards as well as signed cards of encouragement, unsealed, from our Casas community to give to our graduating seniors involved in our high school ministry to show how much we want to celebrate them and to show that we are with our graduating seniors this year. So please join us this Tuesday from 8 a.m. till 6 for our senior celebration drive. $5 gift cards as well as signed cards of encouragement that we're going to be able to pass out to our seniors during our senior parade. Thanks.
And I am so glad to be here with you today. I wanted to take a moment to thank you for continuing to give and help sustain all the great things that we're doing together. I am so thankful we're a church that is welcoming and loves and accepts people where they're at, and the wonderful ways as a community we're committed to staying together. From the online live services to the many ways you continued the generous outpouring of kindness each week as we serve Oro Valley Hospital and the ICS Food Bank through the various Tuesday drives. Your gifts are sustaining all the beautiful, life-giving, and tangible ways we show care for one another and for our community. Well, there are a few different ways to give. You can mail a check, or if you want the ease of online, you can go to thecasaschurch.org and click on the Giving tab. You can also download the PushPay app, or you can even text Casas to 77977. Well, again, thank you, everyone, for the many, many ways that you continue to love the community around us.
All right, good morning, Casas. Happy Mother's Day. Will you guys worship with us? At break of day, in hope we rise. We speak your name. We lift our eyes, tune our hearts into your beat. When we walk, there you'll be with fire in our eyes. Our lives alight, your love
no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99, and I couldn't hurt it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah. Your love is
And I'm Abby.
We're so glad that you are here with us this morning. And if you're watching live, feel free to hop on the chat box on the side, say hi, even shout out to one of your favorite moms.
You know, it's been kind of a crazy 8 weeks. Can you believe this pandemic has now been happening for 8 weeks, and our lives have really looked different during this time? One of the things in particular that has looked different is parenting in this time. You know, and your mic's good now? You're back?
So, am I back?
Okay, she's back.
I'm back.
So what I was saying, Jen, is that, you know, one of the things that's been really different over this past 8 weeks has been parenting and just what it's looked like to be at home a lot more, around the kids a lot more, and trying to do all the different things in this different new dynamic. And I know for me, sometimes that's been a little hectic, a little overwhelming at times, just trying to manage all those things. But one thing that I've found that's been really grounding during this time is to just choose one thing, one good thing that God puts in front of me and do that thing. And sometimes in this season, for me, it's been taking a break from work and just getting in the pool with my kids for a little bit. What's that looked like for you, Jen?
Well, if I'm perfectly honest, it's been challenging to find that next good thing. Sometimes I think I might be looking too hard for it. And so it's realizing that you can put a stop on the end of your day and sit around the dinner table with your family or curl up and watch a movie with your kids. It's finding those little things. And that's really helped me kind of keep going when I try to overthink that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, next up, Glenn is actually going to have a conversation with a group of moms and just talk a little bit more about what mom life has looked like during a pandemic. So happy Mother's Day. Have a great day.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Well, good morning. It is great to have you here joining us as well. And I am here with three moms. Okay, so now I'm on. I apologize. I did not have my mic on. I thought it would be really nice this morning on Mother's Day. And by the way, happy Mother's Day to all of you who are moms. I am here with three moms who serve on staff here at Casas. This is Brittany and Gwen and Amy. and they very graciously agreed to have a conversation here this morning. And so I want to just kind of dive in and just have like a really honest conversation. Of course, we've already talked a little bit about this, but I just would love to maybe go back and ask you this question. Thinking about like the beginning of 2020 and where you thought you might be as a mom at this point in May, like how is it different? And what were you thinking of like back at the beginning of the year? And I'm going to start with you, Gwen. Like, what were you expecting now?
Well, since it's May, I was expecting to have already gone through the girls' prom. We have 5 girls, so I have one in college, and she's now home, so that's different. She wasn't supposed to be home yet. And then we have 3 seniors, so we're blended. I had twins, so Sophie and Chloe are 17. Lydia is 17. She's my stepdaughter, and Amelia's 14. She's also my stepdaughter. But
so let's just pause there for just a second, because you have 3 17-year-old girls,
3
plus a
seniors.
19-year-old
Yeah.
daughter, and a 14-year-old.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay.
So May was. We were planning something very different for the way it looks right now. Emma would have been in college. We were planning a grad party at the house, senior photos. They all had extracurricular activities going on. So Lydia is very much into drama and performing arts. And that got a lot of things with that got canceled. She's supposed to be in the Montes. And they're doing it very different now, which has been very, very challenging for her. And with Amelia, she was really looking forward. She's been at Wilson since I think 2nd or 3rd grade. So she was looking forward to that graduating day and just the whole thing. So it's very different. Everybody's at home. Everybody's with us all the time. So I keep joking.
Of you.
All
There's
7 of us.
7 of you.
So I keep joking that we've perpetually been in the 5th week of summer forever. Where you get to that place where you're bored, like we've run out of things to do. We've been there for a while.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. And Amy, what about you? So going back to, how has it changed?
Yeah, so we're in May. So I have 2 daughters, a 13 and a 10-year-old. And one would have had a theater production she would have been in for school, and she was a lead, and I know that was really disappointing for her. My other daughter does some dance in school, and she wasn't able to do any of those performances. With it being May, we were looking at, getting ready for summer. My girls are still young, so every summer we make plans for like who's going to watch them and what camps they're going to be going into. We've talked about like summer vacation, and all of that has changed. And being at home this whole time, I feel like you, Gwen, it's just an extension of summer. And so it's.
And both of your daughters, are they creative? Do they like doing the arts? And like, is that like?
Yeah, so they don't take necessarily extracurricular activities outside of the home, but they are very creative at home. They like to cook, they like to bake, they like to perform, they like to draw. My girls they like to put on little restaurants where they create candlelight dinners for mom and dad with their menus and tableside service, and so during this time, they've actually really rose in that way, that they've had opportunities to use those creative juices.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. And Brittany, you have the youngest kids. How is your situation different now than like when it all started?
Yeah, well, and we don't have graduations, or even they're not super involved right now in dance or anything like that. But we were new to a school this semester. So we had moved, and my kids were brand new to their school in January. And so I had told them, I would try my best to make it to a field trip for each of their classes. And I was hoping that this would be a really great semester for them, because they weren't super excited to switch schools. And then it was kind of a big deal for them that, they've only even had a month and a half, 2 months with their new class and their teachers, and now it's over. We're not doing field trips. I don't have the opportunity to do that with them. And, for me, we are in a new house. And so my like blank canvas room that I was going to decorate became the school room, which was a real big bummer because it's now like the messiest room of the house and where we try and do school. So,
Was that going to be like your space to like?
yes. I have a Pinterest board. It's called the sitting room. It was going to be like super peaceful, and it is totally opposite of that right now. So, yeah.
Okay. So we've been, and I've talked about this a few times, like this thing continues to go on. And even though we're getting closer to kind of re-entry or whatever, we all know it's not like a switch is going to be flipped. What was it like when you first entered kind of being sequestered and social distancing from what it is now? And I want to start with you, Amy. Like, how did you enter this whole thing?
So entering into this, I was excited because it gave me an opportunity to plan and schedule and create this home life that looked different. I was able to be at home, working from home. I was going to create schedules for my kids. We were going to have creative time and, quiet time and academic time. And
were you excited about it?
I was, because I thought, well, this could be a well-oiled machine. Like, we would put technology at bay, except for academics, and it would just be like, I live in Oz a lot of times, so like, I was thinking this was going to be a really beautiful thing. I was going to start cooking at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was just going to be a really wildly great time. And
closets are getting organized.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Sadly, it took a hard turn, probably about 2 or 3 weeks in. The schedules took a strong dive. I started becoming increasingly angrier as a mom. My husband had to start working from home. Our home is small, and so he was like 5 feet away, like working, not participating in family at all. And so that was really hard too, because, as moms, you want to be able to tag in your spouse. That wasn't an option because he needed to maintain his job. So the reality is it's gotten really, really hard, and it's not, it just hasn't been easy for me in our home. So
it really did take a turn into
yeah, it got really lonely really quickly. While I was surrounded by family, I was really isolated. I felt like I had to manage everything all the time. And in addition to all of that, my kids were very verbal about how stressed out I am and how angry I am. And this is not the mom that I would have thought I would have been. This is not the wife I would have thought I would have been. So it's been really hard. Like, I don't like who I've become. And I'm just barely trying to stay afloat, like, with each day. And so it's just been really hard.
That happened fast, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
It did. And I'm an extrovert, so you would think by being surrounded by people, I just didn't realize what people I needed to be surrounded by. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I just want to hug her.
I know. And we're not supposed to.
And we're not supposed to.
Yeah,
And that's the thing.
I know.
It's been hard.
And thank you for your honesty. I mean that. So what about you all? What, if you think about when we first entered this to now, how has that changed as a mom from how you first engaged it to now?
I too was kind of excited. One thing I was excited about was Emma was coming home. So there was a part of that I thought, well, I'd get her back. I didn't think I'd get her back that soon. She really tried hard to adjust at college life, and she was doing really, really well. And she got through her first semester, and now she's going to just coast through her second semester, and I was so proud of her. And so, I knew it would be hard for her to come home, but I didn't realize how hard it was going to be on her to leave the friend network that she had made. That's not always easy for her. And so when she got home and we got all her stuff, in the first couple days, I remember she just looked at me and she said, I don't know where I belong anymore, because it's wherever I am, that's her home. But her room had been, we moved Chloe into her room with Lydia, and now it was just Amelia and Sophie in one room, and she had to go sleep in someone else's bed now. And so I felt very bad about that. So that was hard. So I was excited to have her home, but then all of a sudden it was just, okay, the reality of this is going to be hard, for each girl in different ways.
And there's a thing as a mom, isn't there, where there's the burden that you feel on all of this, and I heard this in what you were saying, what you just said, you also feel what your kids are going through in this, that it can be so challenging that has changed in this.
I think especially with the 3 seniors, that's been very hard to try and help them navigate through this whole thing and keep positive. But I haven't been through anything like that. I got to experience my senior year, and it was a blast, and it was fun, and all those things. And when it first started, it was just baby steps that, this got canceled, and then, but this is still going. And then they're talking about canceling prom, and that reality of like, oh my gosh, like really, and then going to the next thing. So it's been hard watching them get disappointed over and over and over again. And for me, that's been the hardest part, is kind of trying to help my girls navigate through this stuff.
Okay. What about you, Brittany? How did you, when this all first started going down, were you energized and excited and thinking this is...
No. I'm an introvert, and the idea of us all being home all the time, it's funny because I had several friends that were texting me like, this is your moment in life, because they know I stay home a lot more than maybe the average person. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. And then I realized like, no, like this is not an introvert's time of life, because everybody's at our house. Like we don't get any time by ourselves. Like I like, if everyone's gone, I've got my house to myself, but not on the reverse when you just can't escape everybody. So I knew like probably pretty quickly that was going to be a big challenge for me. Although I would say I did feel that same kind of just creative challenge and the desire to like rise to the task as a mom, and this is what this is going to look like, and let me provide some stability and fun and creativity. And that's really hard to maintain. So I think, what I've observed now is I kind of go through cycles where, on any given week, maybe it's going well and we're doing some fun family activities and we're seemingly getting along, or we've got some structure, but things can just flip so quickly with emotions that, like what you were saying, you want your kids to thrive, or you're concerned about your kids, trying to figure out how to help them navigate this in a way that they don't probably know how to identify what they're feeling. They don't know how to grieve the different things that are all of a sudden gone. Like I'm having a hard time with that as an adult, and I've been in therapy for a long time, and I've tried to learn all these different tactics, and I'm failing at this. And so to think about just this challenge that they have before them too. So it's been a real cycle of, leaning into the moments where we just need to lay low and grieve or cuddle or whatever that looks like, not do a lot of school today, we'll pick it up tomorrow, or the days where everybody could just use a little bit more structure. And so kind of every day has felt different, or you're constantly trying to assess the need of that moment. And that's a lot too. That's exhausting sometimes too.
So if you all could have 20 minutes of just any life the way you would want it to be, what would that 20 minutes look like?
I would choose to be by myself, outside around plants, so I could just be quiet and deep breathe and talk to God and recenter, because my intention is to continue to be out there for everybody and keep this stability in this very unstable time. And I feel like if I don't have that, every time I walk back in, I just get back in the boat and I just start rocking again. So that for me is the one thing, like, that's what I want above
Okay.
anything else. Yeah, just that.
Okay.
I just want that.
Either of you?
Yeah, I think I would agree. I love being outside and just the idea of being alone. I think that would probably be the first part of the assessing 20 minutes. But being alone, outside, enjoying the sun, if that wasn't an option, then just having complete control of the remote control at home, like for 20 minutes, whatever I want to see. That's really it. So one of those two would be the ideal.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I was gonna say I would just take a nap, or I don't know, have like bathroom time to myself, so I don't have like fingers coming under the door.
Yes, because your kids, did we say how old your kids are?
No, maybe not. 4, 6, and 8.
Okay.
And 2 of them are very like attached to mommy. Their love language is physical touch. So there's just a lot of just being with me happening on me. This, you know.
Yes. You know, one of the things that I have enjoyed, and I know and these 3 may be like, oh my gosh, yeah. So we have all these meetings on Zoom, right? So like we're conducting so much business as a church on these Zoom calls. I love getting to see all the kids that participate uninvited into the Zoom calls. And I've seen that with all of them. And there's always these great moments where the kid sticks their head in the thing and, you know, but I could definitely appreciate that as a mom, that wouldn't be the best moment in all of this. What's helped? So like, is there something, like is there been a call to a friend, like in a moment of desperation? Is there like what has gotten you through some of the tougher moments in any of this?
A couple things. Definitely a call. One time I was having a really, really hard time driving to the grocery store, and I needed to call my sister-in-law, and I just needed to hear her voice because I was a mess and I was angry, and that sweet girl like just talked me down, and she just really like reassured me that I'm not the only one in this, and I'm not the only one going through this, and I was just so grateful for her in that moment. Other things that I've been able to experience is some social distancing driveway activity with some friends. I've found that in this time, for me as a mom, there hasn't been a lot to laugh at. And laughter is a huge, like, it's such a high value for me. Like, my sense of humor and laughing, like those really great, like crying belly laughs, I haven't experienced in a long time. Not because my family isn't funny, because they can be, but I really needed like my soul sisters. I needed girls who knew exactly what I was going through. And so my friends have really been that for me. And
so you've had moments where just bring the lawn chair
yes. Yes.
6
and
feet apart in a
and
driveway.
Had food
and
laughed and laughed hard, like tears. And so that has been really, really life-giving for me.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. So I'm just watching the clock here, and this has all gone faster than I expected, which happens to me every Sunday. But there's one thing that we talked a little bit about on our Zoom call as we were talking through what we might talk about that I want to get back to, because as I listened to you all talk about it, I just thought it would be so valuable to moms out there, and even our role as a church, to be able to have an honest conversation about this. And maybe the question I would ask to maybe get to this is, given everything that y'all are going through as moms, and every mom out there, I just appreciate more and more all that you're going through, and even just watching my own wife as a mom navigate all of this. Is there something you think you might miss later, like when we get all through this? Is there, like, and you look back on this, that you might go, gosh, I missed that? Or even something as hard as this is, that you might say, I'm grateful, having gone through this, that there's this part of it?
don't think I'll miss anything, but I know I will be grateful because I've been through things harder than this. And I have that to lean on and go back to and say, as bad as that was, what came out of that and what I learned about myself and things like that. So I know I'll be grateful. I will be grateful for the ability to watch my girls figure this thing out, to become honest and real and express their feelings and then just pick themselves up and move on to go to something else. So I'm already seeing that. So I can say yes. I know I'm going to come out of this with one more story, and I'm so grateful that we had the time to experience this mess because I remember when this happened and we did that. Remember when you said this when this was going on, like that kind of stuff.
Right.
So yeah.
What about you, Brittany?
I think I will miss the simplicity that I feel like we've been able to get back to a little bit as a family. You know, there is a part where being together all the time is maddening and you think you're going to lose it. But there's other times where not having the pull of this person's schedule and these activities and this place, just all these expectations of what you need to do and be and go to, that's been, I think, a really sweet thing that I have appreciated and that I hope to even be able to continue to be intentional towards even after things, you know, start to go back to normal a bit, is just recognizing the priority of the quality time that we've been able to have and putting some of those other things that maybe were the first choice or the first priority, like put those more on the back burner because of what I now know, like it's good for our family to be together in a way. I don't know if that makes sense.
Do you feel the duality of the hardship and the difficulties of it, yet at the same time it's like we're all together in the thing? Like, what has that been like as a mom to experience that?
I mean, right now, so we talked about this a little bit. I've had this conversation a couple times this week, is that there's just an aspect to motherhood in general that, like, from the very start of it, even like we were saying, you know, when the baby's born that day, but I even think like going back to pregnancy is not fun. But then there's really beautiful moments and days about it. And then, you know, the day that your child is born, you're in the most pain. And yet it's, you know, one of the best days of your life. And that concept, I think, continues. It just, I think, has felt compounded right now in these circumstances. And so on any given day, we're having the worst moment and like this major meltdown and things are being thrown or whatever that looks like. And then it ushers us into like an afternoon apology moment where we're reconciling, and my daughter goes and makes me like a pretend Starbucks setup because she knows I haven't gotten to go and do that. And so it's holding both of those and knowing that, you know, this not so great morning does not cancel out this really beautiful afternoon that we had. And that beautiful afternoon doesn't mean that that really crappy morning didn't just happen, but they both are existing, and to hold both of those at the same time. And I think that's just the journey of motherhood, really.
Okay. Well, so like we really are out of time, but can I just say thank you? I really mean that, for y'all being vulnerable and so honest and just sharing that. And I would say this to all of you who are moms, and for sure acknowledge those of you who maybe have stepped into that role as being a mom, whether you're a biological mom or not, that as a church, we see you. And just understand the incredible value you have to family and to community and to your church, and what that all means in this. And so I just want to encourage you that God is with you and that we are with you, and that we want you to maybe have some part of this day where you're blessed. And we have a special song here that I hope just blesses you here this morning if you're a mom or have been in that mom role.
Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen. The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family,
Well, I want to just take a moment and thank all of you who have continued to just help sustain your church, and just acknowledge that there are so many of you that have continued to do that, and even a number of people that are maybe new to Casas since we've been on this online format that have been a part of sustaining and giving financially to Casas. And that makes such a huge difference. And we're so grateful for that. And I want to also remind you that there are 3 different ways that you can give. One, you can text Casas to 77977. You can also go online and you can give through our website. And of course, you can always mail in a check to our church office. And the other thing I want to acknowledge here is that we've had a number of people that are new to Casas during this whole episode that we've been through. Some of you are here local in the Tucson area, others from other parts of the country. And, you know, normally you would be here in this room with us, and we would have a moment where we could welcome you or shake hands with you, talk to you after the service. And of course, we can't do that right now. But I would invite you to do this. If you are new to this church, watching this, engaging with this, we would love to connect with you. And you can simply text guest to 520-462-4172. So if you're new, we would love to connect with you, and you can just text guest to 520-462-4172, because we would love to just have a chance to connect with you. Well, I want to just say a prayer for all of you who are moms and for our church right now. And so maybe just wherever you are, if you can, just bow your head in prayer with me right now. Father, we thank you for this church community that we call Casas, and we thank you for all that you're doing through it, how you are moving and growing all of us, how you're using us to care for one another and care for people outside of our community. Father, we thank you so much for all of the financial gifts that are coming in, and how we use that as a church body to further your work and your heart for things. And we pray for your blessing on this church in what we're doing as a church for your kingdom. And we pray this in your Son's name. Amen. Well, you know, the other thing that I want to just take a moment and mention to all of you, which is so exciting to me, and that is watching the way we as a church have been able to just bless people. I think about Oro Valley Hospital, and, you know, this past week, we put together care packages, and we were able to help celebrate nurses and doctors and medical workers. And it just means so much to just see you all come together as a church, even in a time of like social distancing, finding a way to come together and just bless people all around us. And it just, I hope that your heart is warmed by that, and I hope that you've been able to participate in that. The thing that I would love for us to maybe put some time to focus in on this coming week is celebrating and even encouraging a group within our own church family. You know, this time of year is the time we would normally celebrate grads. And so here's what we're going to do, because there are so many graduation parties that can't happen and graduations that are not happening, is we're going to take some time and do some special things to celebrate the grads within our own youth group. And so as we're working on some special things for that, there's something that all of you can do as a part of this church. And it's simply this. This Tuesday, as a part of our drive, and as you know, we've been having a drive every single Tuesday to bring in items for something that we've been doing. So this Tuesday, I'm going to ask all of us to bring some graduation cards, just celebrating and encouraging grads, just like you would for any grad in your life, a special card. But also maybe throw in a $5 gift certificate to something here in town. So this Tuesday, just if you'll, as a part of our drive, if you'll bring a graduation card and then just a $5 gift certificate to some place, and we're going to use that to help celebrate our grads. And before I move on, though, as a way to just celebrate moms and to say thank you and bless you, one of my friends and someone on staff here, Seth, has prepared something very special to just help celebrate and bless all of you who are moms here.
I'm on? Oh. Hi, good morning. My name is Stacy, and I am the high school pastor here at Casas Church. And in honor of Mother's Day, I wanted to take a moment to share my favorite story about my mom. So when I was about 3 years old and my older sister was about 16, my mom took us with her to the bank. She had some kind of business she had to do. And so my sister was supposed to be watching me in the lobby while my mom waited in line and got up front and was talking to a teller. And the way my mom tells this story, she says, all of a sudden she heard this like commotion or maybe this squealing happening behind her. And when she turned around, she is confronted with her 16-year-old daughter running around, literally dodging people in the lobby and squealing like, ew, ew, ew. And then there's 3-year-old me who has picked my nose, and I have this giant booger on the end of my finger, and I'm chasing my sister and laughing that I'm gonna wipe it on her. And the way my mom tells this story is that she turned around and she tries to take this all in and just has this moment of saying, I don't know what to do with all of this. Like, this is not in some parent manual of what to do when your 16-year-old is running around the lobby and your 3-year-old has a booger on her finger and is laughing. Like, that's not in any book. I mean, have any other parents ever had that moment? Like, have you ever looked at like your toddler or your teenager and you're like, they've said something, they've done something, you go, I don't know what to do with all of this. Well, my mom's instinct was to turn back to the teller and go, wow, whose kids are those? And completely ignore the whole situation happening in the lobby. She actually finished her business to the point that she walked out of the bank, continuing to pretend that we weren't with her. Like, my very angry sister eventually had to haul me out to the car where my mom was waiting for us and hiding. And like, I love that story, and I love my mom. But the truth is, more of us have felt that moment, have been in that situation than just parents. I mean, have you ever looked at your spouse and thought, I don't know what to do with this situation right here? Have you ever looked at like your workload or your job or an email from your boss, maybe a school assignment that you're now expected to complete online? Have you ever looked at like core math or turned on the news or walked into Costco and just taken a step back and go, I don't know what to do with all of this. This is overwhelming. I am not prepared for this. I don't know what to do in this situation. Well, there's a guy in the Bible, and he had this moment. He lived this out in a beautiful way. His name was Saul, and when we meet him, it's actually after the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And there's this new movement of Jesus followers that has started. They call themselves the Way. And actually what Saul is really good at is finding these followers, finding these members of the Way and hunting them down so that they can be jailed or maybe even put to death. And he is really good at this, to the point he's actually sent out on missions into other communities to carry this out. So there's this story in Acts 9 that I want to read this morning, and this is what happens to Saul. Acts 9, starting in verse 3. As Saul was approaching Damascus on this mission, a light from heaven suddenly shone down around him. He fell to the ground and he heard a voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? And he says, who are you, Lord? And the voice replied, I'm Jesus, I'm the one you are persecuting. Now get up, go into the city, and you will be told what you must do. So Saul picked himself up off the ground, But when he opened his eyes, he was blind. So his companions led him by the hand into Damascus, where he remained there blind for 3 days, and he did not eat and he did not drink. Imagine this life-altering moment. I mean, Saul's the guy. He has got the plan. He has got the path. He has got every answer. He knows who he is. He knows what he's about. He knows what he's going to do when he gets to where he knows he's going. And then all of a sudden, in an instant, he finds himself on the ground and blind. He does not have an answer for this. He doesn't have a plan for this. He doesn't have certainty in this moment. You know, a lot of us walked through a very similar life-altering situation just a few weeks ago. I mean, many of us walked into the month of March thinking, I know who I am. I know what I'm about. I know what's coming up. I know my plan. I have the answers. When all of a sudden, businesses are closed. All of a sudden, schools are closed. All of a sudden, kids are home. Always. Suddenly, spouses are home. Always. Graduation is canceled. We turn on the news, we look at our society, and everything is filled with this fear or this anger or this lack of certainty or this fear. And for many of us, we suddenly took a step back and go, I don't know what to do with all of this. I do not have a plan for the pandemic. I do not have an answer for COVID. I don't know what to do with all of this. But honestly, that moment can happen even outside of such unprecedented times. I mean, have you ever sat across from a doctor and he sits down in front of you and he gives you this unexpected news about you or about your family? Have you ever sat down and looked at your finances and thought, I am overwhelmed and I don't know the next step? Have you ever been in a relationship and you suddenly realize you took this turn and you look around and you think, how did we get here? What do we have left? Maybe you've gotten a letter once that said you failed a class, you didn't make the team, you didn't get into the school you had put all your hopes in. You didn't get that job or that promotion that you're sure was yours. And then you suddenly find yourself taking this step back and thinking, I don't know what to do with this. I am overwhelmed and I do not have the answers to this. Have you ever been in a moment where even if you wanted to have the answers and you wanted to have the path forward, I mean, how do you have an answer to a question you didn't even know was going to be asked? How do you have a plan for something that you didn't even know was around the corner? And in that moment of being overwhelmed, that moment of being surrounded by what feels like uncertainty, maybe even trapped by our insecurities, in that moment we can freeze. We can feel stuck and we can hold still. Or there is an opportunity to look at a different mindset, to ask ourselves something that might seem really simple, but is actually really profound, to say, what is the good thing that God has put right in front of me that I have the opportunity to step into right now? Intentionally saying, I don't have an answer for all of this, but right in front of me, how can I do the good thing that God has put right there in front of me? You know, when Saul is lying there in Damascus and he's blind, and eventually Saul's going to go on and he's going to be renamed to be Paul. But while he's laying there blind, it's not like God gave him a timeline. Like God didn't step into that moment and answer his every question and eliminate all of his doubts. But he did not abandon Paul either. In fact, 3 days later, God is going to bring a man in front of Paul named Ananias. He's going to bring this good thing in front of Paul and give him an opportunity to step into it. And Paul actually takes that chance and he trusts Ananias. He gets his sight back and Ananias starts to tell him about Jesus. And he starts to tell him about this new movement, this new way. And then Paul steps into the next good moment that's in front of him then too. And he says, you know, I think I believe what you say about Jesus. I think I want to join this new movement this way. And then he steps into the next good thing and he goes, I want to tell other people about Jesus. And good moment after good moment, he steps into these good things with intention. And he ends up writing most of what we call to be the New Testament today. They're letters that he wrote to churches that he planted along the way. And all he did is he asked, I don't have a new path. I don't have this new certainty. I don't have answers to every question. But how can I do the good thing that God has put right in front of me right now and step into that with intention? And with this mindset can offer us two different gifts that I want to talk about this morning. And the first one is that it offers us the gift of simplicity. That sometimes when we feel overwhelmed and surrounded by our uncertainties, it can be really difficult to move forward. We can freeze. But what this mindset gives us the opportunity to do, it actually empowers us into, is to still take one small step forward. Maybe even letting go of a few of the things that are making us feel so overwhelmed and so stuck, even if only for a moment. You know, my mom, I tell her she is a warrior. She is a mom of 5 kids, and not one of us is easy. Like, none of us are that like laid back, go with the flow. I don't have an opinion about that type of kid. And I truthfully don't know if that moment back in the bank pretending that we weren't hers was her stepping in a good moment or not. It could have just been like a mom survival moment. I don't know what it was. But what I do know is that when my mom turned around and took in that situation, she had no way of knowing what that 16-year-old or that boogery 3-year-old or any of my siblings were ever going to become. She didn't have our 50-year plan. She had no way of knowing what kind of decisions we were going to make or the people that we were going to meet or the people that we were going to become. No mom, no parent ever gets to know that whole plan. And yet, time and time again, I watched my own mom, and I've watched countless other moms step into the good thing that's right in front of them. They may not have all the certainty. They may not be able to answer every question, but the good moment right in front of them might look like make my kid dinner. The good moment right in front of them might look like I'm going to pause my work from home and I'm going to help you with this assignment. It might honestly look like I'm going to go lock myself in the bathroom for 5 minutes because I need some sanity before I come back out here and be the best parent I can be. Moms and parents embody this simplicity, but the truth is this is a gift offered to us in any relationship. Have you ever found yourself in a friendship and suddenly you are overwhelmed by all the things that are going on? Have you ever found yourself in a marriage, or maybe you're at work and you have no certainty of what tomorrow's gonna look like, much less the whole plan? Asking, what is the good thing God's put right in front of me, gives us the opportunity to simplify that moment and look right in front of us. As a spouse, maybe you see your own spouse having this moment where they're starting to spiral with anxiety or fear right now. What if the good thing right in front of you is to sit down and just ask a question? Hey, how are you doing with all of this right now? Maybe as a friend, it's just to say, you know, there's someone I haven't heard from in a while. I'm going to shoot them a text message just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. How are you right now? You don't have every answer. You haven't solved their every problem. You haven't made a plan forward through all of the uncertainty. But in that moment, you have simplified and you have said, what's the good thing right in front of me that I can be empowered to step into right now? Because the second gift that this mindset can offer us is that when we choose to do the good thing God's put right in front of us, sometimes we're gonna miss that good moment. Sometimes we're gonna miss that opportunity. But God is faithful to bring another good thing in front of us for us to step into. So Paul, as he's learning about Jesus and he's telling other people about Jesus, he realizes that he actually has this passion, especially for non-Jewish people. He wants to go to them and tell them about God and tell them about Christ and tell them about this relationship that can be offered to them, this opportunity. And so he goes to Jerusalem, and what he wants to do is he wants to meet with the apostles. The apostles would have been like the church leaders of that time, the church leaders of the way. And he wants to meet with them, and there's this good opportunity right in front of them for them to step into, but they miss it because they're scared. They miss it because they're kind of stuck remembering who Paul used to be, what his reputation was, and they miss this good moment. Acts 9 actually goes on to say this. Goes on to say, when Saul, or who will be named Paul, arrived in Jerusalem, He tried to meet with the believers, but they were afraid of him. They did not believe that he had truly become a believer. So then Barnabas, one man, saw the good that was in front of him, Barnabas. And he decided to step into that good moment God had put there. And he actually goes and gets Paul and he brings him back to the apostles. And he explains this story. He explains his history and his journey and how he got there. And God brings another good moment in front of the apostles. And this time they step into it. And they trust Paul and they decide to send him out into the known world to go plant churches and go tell people about God. When I got married, I married this very handsome active duty soldier, but because he was a soldier, things were a little complicated, and we ended up needing to get paper married months before our actual wedding date. It was really important to us that we kept our wedding date really special and really unique. We wanted that to be the time of celebration and the time of vows and the time of making the decision. So when we signed our license and did our paper marriage, we tried to keep it really small, really low key. We just invited 2 friends to be witnesses and then Seth, the pastor, to actually be the guy who signed it off. And I didn't think much about it until I walked into my house and my mom was standing there at the kitchen counter and she was visibly upset. And I had this moment of looking at her and realizing I had missed a really good moment. Have you ever been there? Have you ever looked at a situation and realized I missed this good moment? My mom was upset, which was really rare for her, and she choked up. She says to me, "Stacy, did you get married today and I wasn't there? You didn't invite me?" And that was heartbreaking to look at her and see the good moment that I had missed. The mom who had sat through 3 services the first time that I talked in church say, "Did you forget me?" And the truth is, I can't have that moment back. There are consequences when we miss good moments. I can't get that moment back. I can't get a full redo. I can't go back and invite my mom into the room where Andy and I are joking with Seth as we sign our marriage license. But I also don't have to sit in the shame of that. Because since then, 5 years later, God has put so many more good moments into the relationship with my mom that she and I have had the opportunity to step into and grow closer. Sometimes we miss the good moment that's right in front of us. It's human. I think about parents and I think about moms. Have you ever felt like you were being held up to this standard? Maybe there was some kind of picture of perfection you were being expected to live up to. But the truth is, whether you're the mom who's putting on the makeup and wearing real pants right now, or you're the mom that's "Stace, I think I brushed my teeth today, but I'm pretty sure the kids didn't." Have you ever had a moment of just saying, "I missed that good moment"? Have you ever been in a friendship and something's going on and you say something or you look at your friend and you go, "I miss that good moment"? Maybe at work, maybe in your marriage when you look at your spouse. But we have a God who is faithful. And the same way he didn't abandon Paul blind in Damascus, he never abandons us. And he brings another good moment and another good thing for us to have the opportunity to step into. Another good chance for us to step into and trust him with that. Maybe some of you are feeling really uncertain right now. Maybe you're feeling really overwhelmed. You're even feeling really stuck. You're feeling really trapped. But what if we have the gift of simplifying that moment and of stepping into the good thing God's put right in front of us and trusting he's gonna bring another one for us to step into after that? And maybe one day we'll get the opportunity like Paul did. We'll look back at our story and maybe it's not what we planned. Maybe we never had all the certainty and all of the answers, but we'll get a chance to see that moment after moment after moment, God showed up for us. That God showed up and wrote a beautiful story with our lives. Maybe just with the opportunity to say, do the good thing that God has put in front of us right now. Please join me in prayer this morning. God, thank you so much for how faithful you are. Thank you so much for being with us and for your kindness, Lord. Thank you so much for your grace. God, I also want to take this moment to be thankful for my mom. Thankful, so thankful for the good moments that you have put in our relationship and for every woman who's ever been in my life that you have used to bless me so much, God. I pray that you would help us to love others well this week. In the name of Jesus, amen. So, to all the moms out there, especially my own mom and my very cool mom-in-law, Cindy JJ, happy Mother's Day. I hope that you guys feel honored and you feel celebrated and maybe you get a little rest today. Thank you so much for joining us this week.